thank you. The end of an era on Capitol Hill. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is stepping down from leadership in November. This announcement sets up a high-stakes race for his successor, and with more on how this could play out is Talking Points analyst Alex Burstein. So, Alex, McConnell became the top Republican in the Senate 17 years ago. Why step down now?
Yeah, there was no clear answer from the 82-year-old who will stay in the Senate until his term expires in 2027, but in a speech to the Senate last Wednesday, he pointed towards the next generation of Republican leaders.
But Father Time remains undefeated. I'm no longer the young man sitting in the back, hoping colleagues would remember my name. It's time for the next generation of leadership.
Aides said it was not related to McConnell's health, but McConnell did say that his wife Elaine's sister recently passing away did make him think about new things. McConnell leaves behind a complicated legacy, starting with the Supreme Court. He recently pushed ahead Republican nominees while stopping Democratic nominees to getting to the nation's highest courts. But in the last couple of years, he's had some clashes inside the party, most recently on national security and aid to Ukraine.
Now, in the days since McConnell's announcement, who has emerged as the minority leader frontrunners?
Yeah, so right now it's a race between three Johns. First off, there's John Cornyn, the Republican from Texas. He was the first to enter the race, and he's a very good fundraiser. He mentions trying to improve communication and transparency in the Senate. Second up, there's John Thune, a Republican from South Dakota, the current minority whip whose term expires this year. He has mentioned in the past trying to get to this spot. And finally, there's John Barrasso, the Republican from Wyoming. He's not said he's going to enter the race, but he's the number 3 current GOP in the Senate, and you can imagine he will try to move up to either the number 2 or the number 1 spot in the coming months.
The three Johns. How, aside from those three names, who else should we look out for?
Yeah, so there's two names that have come up in the last couple of days. The first off being Steve Daines, a Republican from Montana. He currently serves as the National Republican Senatorial Committee chair. So if there's a big November for Republicans in the Senate, you can expect him to get a boost in possible polls for this. And then in addition to that, former President Donald Trump has encouraged him to get into this race. Then there's Rick Scott, the Republican from Florida, who represents the further right faction of the Republican Party. He tried last year to unseat McConnell for this role, failed. And then one person who is not going to enter the race is Lindsey Graham. He said he's not interested.
All right, now what are some key issues that whoever the next Republican leaders are will have to face?
Yeah, there's a couple of big things that the Republican Party is battling right now, and this leader will have to face. The first off, just uniting the party. There's some extreme factions right now in trying to unite the Republicans on their one ideology. And then national security is a big one. Former President Donald Trump has signaled possibly leaving NATO and has been hesitant on aid to Ukraine, and then also just looking at immigration and how to respond to January 6th, all things to keep in mind for the next Republican leader.
Alex Burstein, thank you. Battle for the border.